Hello everyone and welcome back to Gizmo Investing. This is the How to Start Investing for Beginners series, so if you haven't seen lessons 1 and 2, be sure to do that right now before watching this one. I'll put them up on the screen and there'll be the first 2 links in the description. Now that we've taken care of that, let's begin lesson 3. What stocks should you buy? Diversification 101. Make sure you watch this whole video all the way through, by the way, because I'm going to tell you some good stocks to buy at the end, so don't skimp out early or skip around. Just trust me on this one, okay? Okay, so hopefully you've gotten your account approved by now, you've funded it a little bit, and you're finally ready to buy some stocks. The question I know you're all asking me, and what you just want me to tell you, is what stocks should you buy? Here's the deal. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you any recommendations. Consider this edutainment, and maybe just take them as helpful pointers. Deal? Cool. First thing I need to explain to you before we buy anything, though, is the concept of diversification. When it comes to stocks, this just means that you spread out your money enough so that if one industry or section of companies has a bad day or bad month, then your entire portfolio doesn't get clapped. Think about it this way. Let's say you were at a competitive Easter egg hunt. There are 10 different colored eggs, and your job is to fill your basket with as many eggs as you can before the timer runs out. At the end, your eggs will be counted, and you'll get points for how many you have. You really like the color red, so you decide to get as many of those as you can. The whistle is blown, and now it's time to get your points. Oh, by the way, the person that runs the event just decided that red eggs are now worth 0 points, and that the blue ones are worth 2. Well, now what? You're screwed. You look over to the dude on your left who has a basket full of eggs of every color. This means he basically broke even on his red eggs because of the blue ones he had, and of course, his point total smoked yours. And yeah, maybe you could have won by a ton if the organizer had made all red eggs 2 points, but you would have had no way of knowing if that was going to happen. Maybe you shouldn't have put all your eggs in one basket. Picking all red eggs would be like putting all your money in Tesla. Maybe you really like them, but by doing so, you're putting yourself at massive risk, because if they fall hard, like they can be liable to do sometimes, then your entire portfolio is going down with them. So what's the solution to this? Diversification. I'm going to show you the 2 ways you can go about doing this correctly. We're going to start with the easy way, and that's buying ETFs. Think back to lesson 1 when we talked about the S&P 500. If you don't remember what that is, go back and refresh yourself. If we look at the S&P 500 from a diversification lens, that means that it covers various companies from every single sector. Wouldn't it just be nice to be able to invest in the whole thing? Well, you're in luck. Meet SPY. This is an index of the S&P 500, which means by buying SPY, you basically are owning parts of every single company in the S&P 500. Also, SPY is an options trader darling, but don't worry about that one for right now. We'll get to that much later. But that's not all. Here are some more awesome ETFs that I think you could buy. VT is the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF, which helps you get exposure to more emerging markets, which is something that's pretty good for your portfolio. VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, so, why not just buy the entire market while you're at it? ARKK is Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF. If you guys want to know more about ARK, I can make a separate video on them, and I can talk about them for a long time, but they're doing some great things. This ETF buys into disruptive technology and innovative companies. So they just, they're in the EV sector in Tesla, and they do research on all of the newest companies and whatnot. It's pretty good looking. Similarly, you could buy ARKG, which is ARK's Genomic Revolution ETF. I'm looking to own this one personally because I just don't know enough about the bio and gene sectors of the market. I do research on a lot of the other things, but I'm not a big science guy, so I figure I might as well leave that to them. Alright, so there's a couple ETFs that you could buy to cover your diversification options. But I did say there was a second option. This is the option I choose because I think it's more fun and it gives you a lot more control, but it is going to take more work than option 1. So I'll just warn you right now. I think this is really important information for you to know. If you want to just buy an ETF, though, you can just leave it at that and you're in good shape. But if you want to come on the ride, which I advise that you do because I'm going to tell you what stocks I like in these sectors, then let's get strapped in and let's do it. In a sense, this is kind of like making your own little ETF. Maybe it's just me, but I think that idea is super fun. You get to be your own portfolio manager, and your holdings make your own mini ETF. In order to do this, we're going to have to learn exactly which sectors we need to diversify into. I'm going to refer to the GICS, which is the Global Industry Classification Standard. The GICS claims there are 11 primary sectors, which means that a properly diversified portfolio would have roughly 9% in each of the 11 sectors. I'm going to tell you what each sector is, a short explanation, and then give you one stock in each sector that could be a good buy. Keep in mind, it's pretty easy to just Google what sector any given company is in, especially if they're in the S&P 500. So if there's one you like more, or you're just curious what company might be in what sector, then just by all means just Google the company name, GICS, and you'll find it. Let's get started. All right, Sector 1, real estate. When it comes to these stocks, most of them are REITs. These are companies that own real estate, so you're basically just investing in the properties that they own indirectly. My pick for this sector is Realty Income Corp. If you know anything about dividend growth investing, you've absolutely heard about them before. Their ticker symbol O. They're a monthly dividend god that has great stats as far as capacity and yield are concerned. Sector 2 is industrials. This one's a little bit more boring, all things considered, but it's important to cover all your bases. A pretty good go-to here is Boeing, ticker symbol BA. Sector 3, consumer staples. These are the things that people will always need, like food and clothing and all that stuff. My pick here is Walmart, ticker WMT. Makes sense, right? I'm pretty sure we're all going to need Walmart for probably forever. Sector 4 is healthcare. Now we're getting into the more interesting sectors. This one is particularly important given our whole pandemic situation, and my go-to pick here is Johnson & Johnson, ticker J&J. They have so many healthcare products that they'll be important for a very long time. Sector 5, financials. It's easiest to think about this one as all the banks. My pick here is Bank of America, ticker BAC. It's always good to have a well-established national bank in the portfolio. Sector 6, consumer discretionary. Now we're going to have some fun. As you can imagine, these are consumer goods, but unlike consumer staples, this sector's companies of stuff that you don't really need, but people really like to buy. Case in point, my pick here, Tesla. Yes, it's risky, but if you watch my last Tesla video, you can see my full thesis on why I really like Tesla in the long term. Sector 7, energy. Again, this one's not super exciting, but this sector encapsulates oil companies, so I'll pick MPC here, Marathon Petroleum Corp. This is also a sector that's lagging well behind from the pandemic recovery due to the other problems that oil's been having, so there could be some pretty good upside here compared to some of the other sectors in the market. Speaking of sectors that are well ahead of the other ones, we have Sector 8, and this is easily everyone's favorite, information technology. It's tech. Let's be honest, the entire market runs on tech right now, but I'll say it once more, just make sure you probably diversify a little bit. Just make sure you don't go too heavy in tech, because as we've seen these past couple of weeks, there have been some heavy pullbacks in the tech industry. But there's some good like chip making companies like Nvidia and AMD and other stuff. I'll talk about those in another video if you want me to. Just let me know in the comments. But I'm going to pick Microsoft here, ticker MSFT. I don't know how you can go wrong with Microsoft. Sector 9 is communications. Unsurprisingly, this sector contains the phone companies, but it also includes a couple bigger companies. I'll give you two of probably the biggest ones here, Disney and Facebook. I like both of these. I'll let you pick. Disney is a classic dividend growth company. Facebook is a little bit more disruptive technology, but I think both are going to do well in the long run. Sector 10, utilities. This one's not super exciting, but we all need utilities. Pretty sure we would not be happy if our water just went out randomly. So my pick here is Alliant Energy, ticker LNT. There's not really too much else to say here, so let's move on to the final sector, which is number 11, materials. Kind of the same story here as the last one. I'm going to go with Sherwin-Williams, ticker SHW. Do you think we're just going to not stop needing paint at some point? I don't. I'm pretty sure this is a safe bet. All right, we made it. How you guys doing? Too much info? You doing all right? I hope you're doing good. You can rewind that if you need a recap, but I'll just throw this up right here. These are the companies that we picked, so take a look at them, screenshot it, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Remember, the ideal situation would be to have an equal amount of money in each of these companies. Depending on what broker you picked or are going to pick, this may be harder or easier. So if you're on Robinhood or M1 Finance and you have access to fractional shares, this should be super easy. You can just go into the company and just say you want however much 9% of your portfolio is and then send it off and it works. If you have Webull, TD Ameritrade, or something else that doesn't have fractional shares, you're going to have to change your game plan a little bit. Also depending on how much money you put in, because you're going to have to buy full shares. So, for example, Sherman-Williams right now doesn't do a lot of stock splits because they don't really need to. So that's like $600 some, I believe, close to $700. Don't buy that if you can't buy fractional shares. Put your money in some of the other ones, the cheaper ones. Get your money spread out a little bit more. And like if you just want to start with $100, then just say, okay, I'll buy a Bank of America, I'll buy a Alliant Energy, I'll buy a Marathon Petroleum, just to get your money around a little bit, just to begin with. Either way, the main point is to remember that whatever stocks you want to buy, just keep diversification in mind at all times. You do not want to see your entire portfolio come crashing down due to one stock. Trust me, okay? It's not fun. It sucks. I know we covered a lot here, so if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I will reply to all of them and make a video on one if it's a really great question. If you learned anything or found this helpful, please drop a like. Also, if you don't subscribe, then your portfolio will be cursed and in the red. Don't consider it a threat, just a warning. All jokes aside, though, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Hopefully this was helpful because I went over the sectors and gave you concrete examples of companies that you could buy. Most of these are companies that I own, by the way, for full disclosure. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is the stuff that I model my own portfolio and whatnot after. I don't know why I wouldn't just be transparent with you guys, so that's what's happening. But hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a good day, good week, and we will see you next week with Lesson 4.